For those of you that are following our channel and following the build of the Forever Homestead, you will know that there was a big lag in videos being put out. This video was filmed about 2 years ago. Building a house alone has a lot of moments of pride and accomplishment, but it also has its share of struggles. Thankfully, in the whole journey, there are more wins than losses. Starting a couple years ago, around the time of this project, things really started to fall apart for me and the build. Mentally, emotionally, and physically, I needed a break. I had no way of knowing at the time, but only a couple of days after this video was filmed, everything started to fall apart. Winter-type weather set in and never left. I fought 90-kilometer-an-hour winds on a daily basis, driving cold rains, or snow that started to become a daily thing as well. With the roof partially completed, it was heartbreaking to see things so close to being dried in, but show up on site every day and the house be soaked or piled with snow. The project turned from, hey, let's get the steel roof done and everything closed in, to let's just see if we can keep it dry in the house. There would be days I'd be working on the 12-12 pitch, trying to get the sheeting on in the high winds. The winds would rip the sheet of plywood out of my hands and blow it into the forest. I would start work at about 8 o'clock in the morning on many days, and would still be working by 6 p.m. by headlamp, trying to get just one more sheet of plywood on. By the very end, I would occasionally drive home with tears in my eyes, wondering just what I got myself into. This is where things changed as far as the goals for the build for the foreseeable future. I decided it was time to just get the house closed in and not to worry about the video production and editing. The rest of the roof really does have limited videos. I have some clips here and there, but I was at an all-time low for the build and just did not have it in me to video and edit.
So I've been a little, sorry, it's a little windy out today. I've been a little flaky about recording the last, I don't know, week or so, only because working on the roof, I have nowhere to set the camera. I've dropped it a couple of times and I don't want to wreck it, but so I've kind of done sheeting without you on this part of the roof. It's a little bit hectic right now. We are about the last week of September, about the 20, I think today's the 24th. Here in Canada, Ontario, Northern Ontario, you know, it's going to start to get cold fast. We still have hopefully a couple of months of building season left that I hope the plan is to have the outside of the house ready for winter. So roof on, the steel on, doors and windows on, house wrap, all that kind of stuff. But the rush right now is we rented a lift 2 weeks ago. We rented it for a month, so I have 2 weeks left. So I'm really trying to get all the high stuff done, the stuff that, you know, extension ladders and leaning over the edges of roofs and all that. It was really slowing me down. So with this machine, I'm getting a lot done fast, which kind of changes the priority of recording and building and all that kind of stuff. So I apologize for that, but we're really flying along. By the end of this week, I hope to have this roof with the ice and water. You can see it on this side. I started it over there. Today I'm going to finish up the ice and water and cap the ridge. Behind the camera here, there's a hole, there's still a sheet of plywood that has to go on both sides of the roof, about 2.5 feet long, but I can't finish that until I actually get the Douglas fir rafters up. There is a design flaw in these blueprints. Part of it is based on my interpretation of the blueprints and the engineer's interpretation, but there is definitely something missing. if you look at the roof behind me, you'll see that the pitch of that roof doesn't match the peak, the actual ridge, the top of it doesn't match this one. It drops down by about 6 inches. They talked about it in the plans, but not really, and it wasn't, I did this roof on my own, and then I had a guy come in and help me with that one just because they're 24-foot long 2x10s, high up, all that kind of stuff. So I needed help on that side. But this one, I was about halfway through putting all these rafters on my own when I realized that the pitch isn't going to line up. So this is a 12-4 pitch, that's a 12-12 pitch. They're both 2x10s, but if you take two 2x10s, the more you change the angle, the higher that actual peak's going to be. So because this roof was done, almost done, halfway done, before I realized it, it was too late to actually raise these rafters up on this roof. It's a huge design flaw in my opinion, but we're dealing with it now. So talking to the engineer, what we're actually going to do is take a 2x6, snap a chalk line diagonally across or down it from one end to the other, cut that, and then we're going to toe nail them on top of these rafters once the finished floor is on, because there is steel going on top of this, and it needs to be strapped up by a minimum of 2 inches anyway to make so airflow between the actual OSB board or the ice and water and the bottom of the steel to stop condensation and you know, get rid of heat and all that kind of stuff. So it's just at the top, it's actually going to be taller than 6 inches, but there's no way around it. So by the end of this week, I hope to have all of this done, started the sheeting on that side, but once I get 4 or 5 sheets on here, I'm actually going to go around and finish the gable end. Get that gable end framed in, plywood on it, and then the ice and water. And then I can come back around, work on rafters, finish that plywood. So within 2 weeks, we hope to have it all done. If our windows should be here by the beginning of October, if the windows are here by the beginning of October, we might actually hold on to the lift for 1 more week so I can go around and get all the upper windows installed before that has to go away, because installing the windows off of a lift is going to be so much easier than doing it off of an extension ladder. So for the cost of the lift, I think it'll justify the speed at which I can get those windows in. But I'm going to get back to work and yeah, follow along.
Too many days in the darkness without a glimpse of the light. Running tired and broken and scared, but I swear I'll never give up the fight.
In the end, in 3 to 4 weeks time from this video, I locked the doors and walked away from the house for over 2 months. By that time, my soul had mended and my spirits were lifted, knowing that the hardest part of the build were behind me. There is lots of video of the build, and I am now at a place where I'm ready to start editing these and get them out to you.
Just like a seed in a garden, you will grow to be tall.
I have one more video coming in the next week or so of the windows and doors being installed, and then the video content starts to get back to my regular style. Lots of footage, lots of progress, and a whole new outlook on the build.
We can watch the sunrise. Just a couple of bruised up souls that believe that it was worth one more try. With every star, we are born again. Open your heart and spend less time in your head. With every star,
For those of you that have just discovered our journey, please know the videos get better. For those of you that have been following from the beginning, just know we appreciate you following along and want to tell you that we are now ready to tell the remaining parts of the story of our house build.
So, running out of battery power, so I'm going to be quick. So we've got the roof not done, but we've got it, the ice and water on it, so it should make it fairly dry inside there. See at the end here, I just have a tarp. There's still a small section, about 2 foot by 4 foot on each side here. And the reason that isn't in yet is because there's some Douglas fir rafters that go from, they kind of do a 12-12 pitch off the back here for decorative and to break up that back edge of the house. And they have to come through the plywood here to get the proper angle and all that. So I just left that open so I can finish those up. But I got to do the front ones first to get my angles and all that. I did end up adding some roofing nails because even this morning when the winds were out, they were kind of blowing all of the it hasn't had time for the sun to bake the tar and this ice and water in yet. So I just basically around the outer perimeter and down around the vent, all the way around, I just put a couple of nails in, every other stud kind of thing, just to hold it down so it doesn't peel back. Yesterday or 2 days ago after those winds, this corner, you can kind of see some of the wrinkles there, this corner was peeled back. And obviously it sticks to itself better than it sticks to the wood, so it was a real nightmare getting it laid back out. The vents here, this is, again, it's what's called a cold roof, or the same idea as a cold roof. Because underside of these 2x10s are actually going to get a like a blow foam type insulation. I think it's 4 inches of blow foam in these things. So there's no vapor barrier, no bat insulation. So there's no venting on the inside of the roof like you would over a bat insulation. So on this one, what happens is that gets in there. There's no vapor barrier on the inside at all because the blow foam acts as the vapor barrier. But from the soffit, it's a vented soffit, that there's about 2 inches of strapping on top of this roof, and then the seal goes on that. So there's an airspace of a minimum of 2 inches from the edge of the house up to the vent here, up to the ridge. And what happens then is there's a vented soffit, and it sucks the air in through that hole at the bottom there and allows it to travel up just from the convection of the heat itself, allows it to come up and out the vented ridge cap that we're going to put on. This little craziness here will be gone once the strapping's on. That'll, like I was saying earlier, that ridge beam, that ridge peak will carry the whole way down at the same height. I just have to trim up, just before I go today, I'm going to trim up that edge, the ice and water there, so the air can't get under it. But other than that, the sun's out right now and it's nice and squishy and soft. You can actually see my footprints all over it. So I don't want to walk around on here too much right now because I don't want to ruin this. It's got like a grid in it. I don't want to take any of that kind of stuff off. So I hope it's waterproof now, or water resistant. I know obviously the whole front of the house doesn't have any protection on it or anything like that, but there's just so much water raining into the house. We're coming into the fall season and I really want to get it dry before winter hits in, so there's no mold and stuff. So the sooner I can stop water from penetrating one part of the house, I'm happy. So this is one step of about 5 that has to go on for the roof, but it actually is a little bit of a confidence booster that we're going to get it done in time for winter. Worst case, if weather turned really, really bad in this back half, I could just throw a tarp over it for the winter, but the plan is to get the steel on. So anyway, hopefully tomorrow I'm back at it, working on the front, or the south side here, getting the gable end right, or getting it ready for some sheeting and stuff there. But they're calling for horrible rains and stuff tomorrow, so probably won't be working on a roof tomorrow, but we'll see how it goes.